Hello, sports fans from around the world. It's the one you've been waiting for, the NRL SuperCoach BDE podcast. We are the best draft experts here to dive into this magical week of a decider for Origin. Got to get through it on Wednesday first, boys. I don't even care. Stuff the waivers. Let's talk about Origin. Todza, any chance
Yes,
you
mate.
absolute ragged heap of blokes?
Nah, mate. I look. This is gonna be a real tight game. Full credit to the boys. Nah, get it up, yeah, mate. New South by 13 plus, baby.
13 plus. Get out of here. Simo, bring us some sensibility to the potty, mate. What do we got?
Mate, sensibility is not my middle name, but we'll go with it anyway. Look, New South Wales 13 plus was a pretty good show, but I reckon, with this, really sad Munster news, like Queensland's going to fire up, man. Queensland's going to play a lot tougher. Just that chip on the shoulder. So yeah, it's going to be a bloody good game of footy. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Dropping of Mofot can't hurt.
Yeah, solid 4 runs a game.
Yep, he's done not happen to that great career that we thought would happen. But anyway, we move on to the actual Super Coach this week, boys. And it's good to see all but a few teams on bye. So just the South Raiders and Manly on bye this week. Had to remember that. So a few outs there, but obviously if you're relying on South players this year, with the exception of Tallis Duncan, who's just apparently the best back rower in the history of Supercoach all of a sudden. You're not relying on too many there. So Raiders, obviously, as well, are a pretty big out. But anyway, okay. Sharks v Dolphins, boys. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big game to start the round. Sharks need the wins. Absolutely have not been as good as what was advertised versus this plucky Dolphins outfit that Todza, as one of your 25 teams in a 16 or 17 team league.
Yeah.
Mate, how do they keep doing it?
Let's keep on keeping on, mate. They're just built like that, Wolfie's just got them going. They just show up for each other. We say it every week on the potty. So this is a really exciting game for a Friday night. I'll be interested to see if Hammett backs up after copping an absolute flogging on Wednesday. But, it's a really interesting game, this one. Sharks definitely need a win, so it should be a good one.
All right, mate. So checking in then, I'll stick with you just for any options here you think for rest of season value if they were dropped over the bye round, or maybe there's some new options here. So just going to do some quick hitters for you, mate, just to check the pulse. So Jake Averillo's probably earned, with the season he's had, mate. He's on a wing now as well. He's earned every week starter status, right?
Yeah, he seems to be pumping out like 60s to 70s every week just for funsies. So yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, it has to be.
Sean O'Sullivan, if you needed a halfback this week, which there's many out, if Cleary obviously doesn't back up as well, that owner's in trouble. Moses Owner keeps scrambling around. The Phoenix Crossland over, devastating news that he's not playing in the back row this week.
Devastating for all Phoenix Crossland owners.
All 3 owners of them out there.
And in 0.1% of leagues.
Yeah. Dropped the hammer there, didn't I, Simo?
Oh, that's good from you, mate. That's good.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
You sound very devastated.
Oh, it's just great, mate. I love when my backup of a backup is no longer usable. It's just a wonderful feeling. Sean O'Sullivan, any interest? Obviously, the Metcalf owner as well, if you're relying on a half, is currently scrambling potentially as well.
The only reason I would say there's a slight interest is just because of the reasons you said. There's so many halfbacks could not be backing up, but boy, howdy, it's a gross one to recommend. Like, we've seen Sean O'Sullivan before, and especially in this team where it's a Zay Katoa's team, he's just done nothing. So it's a really gross one. Wouldn't be spending any waivers if I would like I'm the Fogarty owner. I'm super needy this week, but I'll be staying away from O'Sullivan. It's just not for me.
I'm going to go a step further and just say no. I think this hurts the Dolphins big time with Cody Nikorima. He's that. Simo, we've been on him for years, is that he's the hot and cold guy. When he's on one of these hot runs, he kind of elevates all the outside backs and stuff around him. And I think without him there, I'm a little bit worried about the Finns here.
Yeah, look, it is a massive drop-off. Like, Cody Nikorima has had probably one of the longest stints where he's actually maintained that level that we talk about in terms of his hot and cold streaks. Like, he was super consistent and consistently good, like in a very good way. So I think there'll be a drop-off there. Just getting back to Averillo really quickly there, like playing on the left wing where Bostock's been fantasy relevant there, Like I think Averillo just keeps on keeping on. So if he's not owned, he's a bona fide, probably a CW3 going forward. I reckon if he's going to keep the left wing there. So
albeit
it's a
a
lot.
bit of drop off without Cody, Simo. That's the only risk. Like if Cody was there
Yeah,
and Averillo's there, I'd be putting him as actually like a crazy high waiver, to be honest with you.
yeah, it's fair too. I think a general sort of statement about this week as well. Like we've hinted on a few guys there in the halves that are going to be missing, but the Origin guys that don't back up, like this is a really sneakily difficult buy round. This one because you've got
It is.
a lot of Canberra players are highly owned, a lot of Manly players are highly owned.
Yep.
So you're going to have a few guys needing to pick up players there, plus all these, like obviously the Panthers guys are not named, the Storm guys are also on the extended. So there could be a lot of restings after this third Origin. It could make it a really tricky buy round. It could be one of the toughest ones we've had. So if you're in any doubt this week, I think you're going to have to spend a few waivers to get a lot of these guys. I would imagine this is going to be one of the more hotly contested waiver wires getting around.
I like it, mate. And I think one of the strategies you can employ here, listeners, is if you are affected, say Ruben Garrick, who you're absolutely delighted is now playing on the wing for you. Obviously, he's your number one rest of season. Try and find a guy in the CT dub then, if you don't have him already on your bench, that could at least be that fourth, fifth pivot for the right matchup at the back end of your CTW roster. Therefore, it kind of feels like you're not wasting a waiver claim. Similar with the often it's good to carry that fourth 2RF option as well. Have a good look at that. And obviously just pay really close attention to the buy rounds as well, because there are some tricky little ones like Broncos around 20. You've also got the Sharks for a pesky round 25, I believe it is. It's a bit tricky, 24, 25. So just pay real close attention to that as well, folks, when you're going to need that pivot option. Welcome to the listeners who've just got on as well. Great to have you aboard tonight. Fire away with any questions that you may have. We've spoken about Oren Keeley a fair lot. Kurt Donahue got the dual status, becomes an incredibly valuable option. Essentially, a lower end Maxi Plath for the run home. So credit to those who got on. Mark Nichols starting along with Francis Moller. Not a lot to get super excited there. Connolly Lemuelu, boys, I think we've all had a crack at owning him at various stages throughout the year. Certainly has upside just pulsing through his veins, but so hard when he's only getting that sort of between 49 and 52 minutes. I mean, if he's out there, just a quick one, boys. Free agent stab or low waiver? I'll go with you first, Todd.
Free agent stab for me. Hasn't shown enough, unfortunately.
Yep. Simo?
Yeah, I think that's the only answer. Waiver's too rich. And yeah, he's that guy of 2025 that just keeps on keeping on. I feel like there's this sort of player every single year, and we go, the week you start him will be the week that he falls off the cliff, and he just keeps scoring tries off the bench. So if you've been getting away with it so far, then good on you. But he has to be a free agent only because he's a sub 30 score just waiting to happen.
He is. I think he did put that together last week with a 29. Meso, you literally read my brain, mate. He was the last player I was going to mention here on the Finns. Welcome to you, Meso. Good to have you aboard as always, sir. I noticed Trey Fuller on the extended chances. Hammer so fails to back up. I think there has to be a chance, given Hammer is playing fullback and may actually cop a bit in this. I imagine will be a target, to smash him early before he gets up ahead of steam. Won't work though. He'll score a hat trick again. No dramas. I think Trey Fuller's an interesting little stash. If you've already got your buys mostly out of the way and this week's not too hard, I think he's a decent enough stash, lads, because with Bostock down as well now, like it could just be one injury and he gets a shot somewhere. And we saw that when he played last year with Hammer playing, he still actually looked pretty damn good. So I think he's as good. We might even mention those stabs that we're willing to take, guys, like for the rest of this potty. Just an easy yes for me. Simo, just quick yes or no.
Yeah, I think so. Just, like, if I had to bet money, I'd say Hammer doesn't back up. So I think Fuller's a pretty good guy to go look at this week. And like, would I spend a high waiver? No, but if I own Tabuai-Fidow, I'd be okay spending anything from sort of in that mid range, like 5 to 8.
Handcuff.
If you don't own Hammer, it's probably more like a really low end claim, if anything. But Hammer owners go get him.
Interesting one here, boys. Todd's Talakai. So hasn't maintained his spot. There's word that Stone Street's back this week in the New South Wales Cup and Hirotti's only potentially a week away. I feel Talakai has half a chance to hold on to this spot. I think it's not a favourite versus Roddy personally, but if he comes out and they have a big win here, it's not out of the realms of possibility he holds this spot, mate. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. He definitely needs to show something, though. Like, I think he's looked a bit slow at centre. He's always looked good with ball in hand. It's just, I think that the good centres in the game are going to carve him up. This week, I'm probably up against Herbie. It's going to be an interesting one. But, yeah, if he gets towed up this week like he did against Melbourne, like, there's every chance they get Roddy back in there pretty quickly.
Stick with you here, Todd, in that back line, mate. It's been questionable all over the place. So, yes, Ronaldo Mulatalo should be owned. I think we'd all agree on that. But boy, he's had a terrible season looking at his stats. Like it's actually been awful. Like for example, you would preseason Jake Averillo versus Mulatalo. We all know who he would have taken. You'd have much preferred Jake Averillo by the length of the straight. Sharks have a very soft run home, boys. It is super friendly for Supercoach purposes. I've been eyeing it off. I think you do want a piece. I think it's a very reasonable piece to start them in those better matchups. Either Ronaldo, I think even Sione, who's a lower floor guy but does have decent upside. Even Jesse Rami has had a terrible season. If he's out there, I think put respect on the name. These guys are all can fill out at minimum your 4th, 5th rotation.
Yeah, 100%. Love the shout, mate.
Yep. Will Kennedy, he probably will have one more run in him at some point this year, but oh my God, he's hard to trust in it, even as a flex. The run is good. It's one of those things you can stash him if you get hot. Sorry, if they get hot like I think they will, he might go through a run of 70s again. But geez, it's a nauseating way to get there. Can't wait till he's gone. Bring in Ison or any of them, Dykes, someone eventually. That's it really for the Sharks. It's just the back line. The rest of them will already be owned. I don't think there's anything to look at there. All right. Also, boys, as we run through, just thinking about add the lens of any buy lows you think are just really screaming obvious, and we'll just we'll do it as we go. Knights v Storm. Poor Knights. It's just going to be a very, very rough finish for the rest of the season. Like, good luck scoring a point, let alone beating a team. I really, boys, if you can sell honestly any of them and get a good price, I'd be a seller. Very easily.
That's fair.
Yeah. I like
Bradman
that shout.
Best.
Like,
sell Bradman Best. Sell him on the average, Simo.
well, I think the big one is Kai Pearce-Paul for me because he's got no affinity to the Knights. He's off to the Tigers next year. Like he's got a good enough average at the moment. I think he's in the 62.5. Top of my head. So he's one that's got a good enough average, and I think he's done enough to warrant something in return. So I'd be looking to sell him because I would not be shocked if the Knights eventually just thought, you know what, we're going to give Jermaine McEwen a go or give Tommy Cant a crack. And like obviously, Pearce-Paul won't just disappear, but his minutes could drop off to like that 55 or 60, and you're going to wish you sold him. So he's probably the big one. I agree on the take with Best as well. I just feel like all these sorts of guys are just going to be more valuable right now than what they're going to be in like 3 weeks' time. So, yeah, try and sell them if you can, even if it's just a sideways trade at the moment. I'd still look to do it. I think Fletcher Hunt's going to garner some interest because he's obviously playing fullback and is available in the CT dub. But, I mean, he hasn't really showed a lot for me personally in the games I've seen him play. So, look, it's a tentative one. Like, for me, he's not a waiver. But I can see people that would want to just based on position and Supercoach availability, or eligibility. So yeah, he's probably a talking point. But yeah, I'm definitely subscribing to what you're saying. The Knights could be just a massive dumpster fire rest of the way.
Yeah, I actually want to go as far. This is probably more of a shock value, hot take, if you will. Dylan Lucas for a higher upside CTW, I would be all over it. If you could get yourself, if you're in a decent enough position, you go get yourself a Brian To'o or someone of that ilk that could actually just, steam home with, a try double gets you 120. I can't imagine Dylan Lucas is scoring over 100 many times on the run home, boys. Like, I know he'll get you 70-ish. I don't think that wins you championships personally. Cash in on the massive average. Dylan Lucas could get you a big chunk of CT dubs right now, like heaps of them. Any strong disagreement? Yeah, okay with that.
Oh, he's just. I think with Lucas is that he's of all the guys we've mentioned here, he's the safest one because that base is still going to base, isn't it? Like I'm okay with keeping him, but yeah, if you can turn him into like pretty well premium CT dub, that's like I'm okay with that. But he'd be the one I'm probably less. I'm less worried of selling, but definitely KPP. I mean, the other guys, there's not that. I mean, Gagai's probably also a pretty good one to try and sell, but I mean, when isn't he at this point? Like he's what 35 years old, 34, 35. Like, probably try and sell him too if you can. But I assume he'll be goal kicking. Gags, is that locked in now? With Ponga gone, or
he'd goal kick here. I think
he won't kick, mate. There'll be no tries.
That's the. I think the odd kick that he gets in garbage time. I think he'll have it over Hastings for mine.
Yeah. Yep.
Over to the Storm. You can start Wishart this week if you've held him over. He'll already be owned in most bye leagues. Leagues that played bye last week. Shout out to the Nick Meaney owners with the monster score just coming in and in replacement of Papi. Good to see Papi back this week. Absolutely shocking that Kane Bradley doesn't get another run.
Rough chat.
Wow. There's not much here to get excited about for waivers. Obviously, folks, just paying close attention to Harry Grant, Cam Munster, Trent Liera, all on the pine there. I think a lot of people held Liera even, but if he's been dropped, boys, for the run home and the chance that it depends how many minutes he may come in, I suppose, out of those three. You imagine Munster and the family are, RIP, condolences to the Munster family. That's a horrible bit of news this week. You'd imagine he doesn't back up. Harry Grant is notoriously bad at backing up. Trent Liera may be a shot, I actually think. Is he a waiver claim for the run home, Todd?
I don't know if I'd be spending a huge waiver. He's like averaging like 58. He's been pretty good. Like he's been a solid 3-4 2RF kind of guy, but I wouldn't be spending a high-end claim on him to get him.
I wouldn't either. I think he's comfortably in a 2-3 with a nearly 60 average, which is, I know it's surprising and weird to say out loud, but better than any of us could have imagined, I would say.
Yeah, no doubt better.
He's a solid 3. Yeah, he's a solid 3. If you can get a guy that pumps out the occasional 60 as your third, that's fine. We know he hasn't got massive upside, but it's okay to have a base guy as your third. And I'm sort of see where Toddy's coming from. It's not something that you like to spend a massive waiver on, but is he a claim in general? Yeah, but it's probably like a back end, like a 7, 8, 9 type range.
Or team need type 1. If you need your 2RF now and you're struggling, he's decent enough. And you'd rather him over some of those preseason guys, your Hopgoods. The ones that had preseason value have sort of flopped. He's easily gone ahead of them now. Sean Blaw, guys, is he gone at least earned third 2RF status? Because the run has been a little bit better. If he was out there, or if he'd be very easily gettable in trades as well, would you have him as your third 2RF for the run home?
I prefer him to just be a rotational guy, to be perfectly honest. We talked about him a few weeks back, and I think you, Redford, were pretty off him, and rightfully so. I mean, he's had a pretty shocking year. I can't remember the statement being his bad games are 35 to 40, which was even lower than what Toddy thought at the time. And I'm not going to anoint him as back by any means. If I had him as my fourth, it's fine. You play him in good matchups because he's kind of predictable in that way. He has that offload every so often, and if he's against a 2RF you think you can exploit, then fire him up. But would I want to run him out there every single week as my third? I prefer not to, but in saying that, he does have some value because if the matchup's right, you can easily start him. So just sort of take him as that, and I think you'll be fine if that's what you do.
So the Roosters, predictably, absolutely chunked it last week. Could not have chunked it any harder. That SuperCoach superstardom that we expected. At least Nawaqanitawase lived up to the hype and was absolutely outstanding. He was like a man amongst boys there. The rest of the side...
Didn't Mick Ennis tell us all about it? Jesus Christ.
I tell you what, Simo, the culture of that Roosters team, and the coaching, they should be shot out of a cannon for the effort. That was atrocious. We
It was
called
so
it.
funny because you called it. Like last week, I thought, no, like we call it all the time, and I thought, no, this is the week it's not going to happen, and they finally just put on the cricket score that they should, and sure enough, you were all over it. They bloody bottled it like the useless pricks they are. It's
Yep.
just, yeah, that's the difference between the Roosters, at least over the last 4 to 5 years, compared to the Storm and the Panthers and like those sort of upper echelon teams. The Roosters, like to claim that they are, but they lose these games that those good teams don't, and they should really put them away. And they consistently don't do it. So Trent Robinson's got to take some accountability for that. And like it's not a shock to see massive team changes, but yeah, hopefully there's a bounce back there on the cards for the Chooks.
Well, the scapegoat, rightfully, normally I'd say it's a bit harsh on a younger player. Horrible timing for Sandon Smith and owners. He played atrocious. That was the worst game he's played in a Roosters jersey. It was terrible. And I feel for him. I think he's a great little player and I think he's got a lot to offer, but he made the decision pretty damn easy and hasn't even made the bench. Like that's pretty rough. So he drops out. So I guess would you hang on to him, Todd, if you were Sandon, given he has the dual coverage, or do you think it's time just to cut bait?
No, I would still be holding on to him just with Sammy Walker's injury history. Like we saw, his name come back a few weeks ago, did his hammy, I think it was. I would still be holding just with the coverage too, just in case he may get that bench spot back, which is not ideal, but as plug and play if you need to, I'd still be holding him, just injury cover for me.
Yep. And would you, if Sammy Walker was dropped by a frustrated owner after they'd already picked him up, busted, he's an easy number one with a bullet?
Not even close. Number one and then daylight.
Yeah, that's reasonable. It's pretty low hanging fruit there. Yeah, exactly. He's not necessarily going to light it up straight away, but I tell you what, if you're looking at your opponents, pardon me here, you've at least got a shot to start off in the right foot. And Simo, if I remember, I'm going to put my Roosters knowledge to the test.
Here we go.
If you played a good team this week, you would then turn up and play quite well, potentially would lose, but still play quite well, or maybe sneak a win against a real good team.
Against a good team,
yeah. But the second banana skin, I think, we should actually try this week because we lost last week. This is a chance of actually being a good scorer and a win. I think that's the model.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's probably that's what history would say. I think you've nailed that.
My Dragons 13 plus, see beauty.
I love it. Oh, 25 out of 60 or 17 teams love Tozza. Claim the Bears as well, mate. Love your work.
Oh, I'll get behind the Bears.
All right, so just checking in. Obviously, I'll go with the Roosters. So Billy Smith just crushed some hearts last week in Classic, especially for those who'd hung on to the bitter end. Some of us traded him for Nongi Tawaze, though. That's a good time. So backing up, Toya, probably, given the age, feel like he can get through. Connor Watson off the bench, we think, touch wood and less bad injury. Gus Crichton, I don't think is a lock, boys. I really don't, because he's not exactly moving that fantastically well at this stage. I think he's got to be a chance. 80 minutes on an edge for New South Wales, getting absolutely battered, old son. So possibly just have, what'll it be? Who would come there? It would be Egan Butcher. Yuck.
Egan, yeah. Did you see that game on the weekend? How was that? Yeah. How was that not a Cat 1?
It's Cat 1.
Oh, that's the easiest Cat 1 ever, dude.
Can I, Timo? I was looking at the screen, and when he came back on, I actually just did the. Hang on, is this his brother? Is this another Butcher? Like I could not fathom. He did the one similar to Campbell, but Campbell bounced back faster.
Yeah, way faster.
Egan was
gone. He was on the ground out. Like he was on. He couldn't. He was gone on the ground.
Gone.
Yeah, I was blown away that he was back on the field, and especially a guy like him who's been concussed. Every third game he plays, it feels like.
Yep.
If not concussed, it's an ACL. Like he's had a rough trot, but seeing him back on there was crazy. So.
Bonkers. And I know we gave so I was going to say the Victor Radley aspect to this for me, Simo. We would give him a pass mark, as a lot of pundits did, about how they handle concussions better than anyone. I don't know if that was a good look for them.
My independent doctor should have been on that one. That's on the Roosters.
Well, I mean, it's been a quick month for Victor Radley. You're just saying, it's.
I can't believe he's playing again this year. I think that's madness. It's crazy.
Like, I could see
I love
Gussie
him,
Crichton starting off the bench in this game and them starting Egan
Mm.
Butcher
Mm.
or even playing Radley on an edge with Gussie to come on after. Like it, yeah. If you own Gussie Crichton, hopefully you've got a guy you can flex in there because the Roosters are playing relatively early in the round. So, yeah, it's probably something just to watch out for in case just in case there's some sort of silly bug is there and if he starts off the bench, obviously you're not going to play him in Supercoach. So just keep an eye out for that one.
Hugo Savala for the run home. Simo, any interest?
Not really. Like, I mean, he's shown propensity to have a couple of good games here and there, but what was last week? Like, he scored a support play try and cracked a 40 odd, 42, I think, or somewhere in that range. Like, he's a good enough player, but I think the consistency is going to be really tough. So, with Sammy Walker back, you'd imagine Sammy's going to take over a lot more of the general play, and Savala will obviously kick long and whatnot, but I think Sammy Walker hurts Hugo more than Sandon does, so I wouldn't be like holding out great hopes for Hugo. I think he's someone that should be on rosters, but probably not someone you're looking to start unless the matchup's really right. And in fairness to him, this is a matchup to start him, but in saying that, you'd also love to see just 1 week of what it looks like with Sammy Walker there before you go thrusting back into lineups really quickly. So I don't know if you feel any harder on that, but that's sort of where I'm at with Hugo.
No, I don't think there's anything there. That's about right. Todd's is nodding along. Meso has asked, can you gents talk a bit about Radley's outlook? He's a waiver option. Appreciate the concussions, but he has better base than anyone else at 2RF. Now, I reckon Meso in 12-team leagues plus you're bang on, mate. He's always going to look juicy as that third 2RF. I personally think unless you are desperate, you have to put the in-game concussion risk, potentially early in-game concussion risk at the forefront of your thinking. I think I'm too risk averse to do that. I don't think it's worth it for the upside and even that high floor that you speak of. I can't go there. And it could work 100%. You could get an average of 60 plus the rest of the way. It's too much for me. Any disagreement, Todd?
No, none for me, mate. Just quickly there, like Sean Bloor versus Victor Radley's playing a close one there. Like
Bloor easy.
It's for me, it's Bloor just because of the injury risk for like Radley, but that's the same sort of guy. Like could easily pump out 55 to 60 average with Western at home, but a bit more safe.
A different, but safe is a wit. That's where it gets tough, Todd, because it's not the Bloor one is not safe for a different reason. But touchwood, hopefully you're getting 65 to 80 minute performances. But at least Bloor also has the upside chance as well. Victor, not so much. Victor on an edge, Meso, is something we've always been pretty keen on. He scores really well on an edge. So yeah, I hope he's not playing 80 as well, given where he's at right now. But we'll see how that goes. Blake Steep on the bench. Maybe he sneaks in for a few minutes, Simo, probably.
Yeah, look, it's not the time to own Victor. First game back. Like he's been the best for Supercoach when, like you said, he's been on the edge, but he also had a good run where he was playing big minutes at lock a couple of years ago. I think it might have been 2022, towards the back end of the year. He was playing really well for Supercoach then. But yeah, coming back off the concussion, his minutes to be managed. So yeah, I'd be going Bloor just for the upside out of the two. I think that's probably it's a good question. Like they are, I can see why they're close, but yeah, it'd be Bloor for me.
Over to our resident Dragons expert and number
Here
one
I am.
fan. Todd's really good coaching. I'm going to forever be a fan of his work, Flanagan. He's actually dropped Corey Allen, which had to happen based if anyone watched the game last week. Mightn't be quite at the full fitness that he once was after all those injuries. So it's good to see Sione stay in there. Maybe, playing on the left with Tui Pilotu, gone for at least a couple of rounds. Just maybe he could plug him in there as a fourth if you need to. He's probably got a chance of some upside, I think, is decent enough. But I want to mention, like in King Tongia, you thought you had an absolute gem in the buy round. I know I did, at least in one of my leagues. Absolutely stank the joint up, mate.
Stingfest.
Is that it? Do we just get out?
Wow. The advice would be to get out. Unfortunately, I'll be firing him up this week with Munster not playing. So, yeah, it's one of those ones where he's got the duel there. I've got Fogarty and Munster this week, so I've got to play him at some stage, unfortunately.
Jeez, love to be playing you this week, old son. Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
the good thing with not playing Dragon. It's a tough one with King Tong here. Like, he's showing plenty of class in times gone by. He has put up some decent enough SuperCoach scores too. This week against Roosters, I think, is a bit of a big task. And look, if I can find somewhere else to play in my half or my 5'8" role, I'll be definitely having a look-see.
Meso says, cheers, boys. Good stuff, mate. Love to have you
Meso.
aboard. Lucy's back just to tease and annoy everyone. I just have to bring him up. I just have to bring him up. I can't do it. Also, big thanks to Emre, the Stankman Gula, who put on a 19-pointer in the bye round just when people thought he was the safest 40 in the universe. Jeez, you just got to love Supercoach. And apologies, listeners, that there was at least a mention of Emre as a 45 guarantee. That is, how does that happen?
Yeah, look, in the bye round, we make some shocking calls. Like Sammy McIntyre, like he got injured, I guess, but
yeah,
I mean, he had one stint as well. There's a few guys that really stunk it up, and that's the beauty of a bye round. Unfortunately, it's the game we play.
That's the game we play. Credit to the Dragons for a late
here, boys.
Sorry there, Todd.
Do you think Lucy starts here? Like, Michael Molo was actually pretty good on the edge last week.
I brought up Lucy just for humour purposes. So I'd get with the program.
More like the Michael Molo front row eligibility.
I did
on the
see
edge
it
last week.
He played the minutes, and he scored 60 odd. He's one, if he had been starting, I would have been on board with this, Todd. I think because he's not listed as starter, it means that those massive minutes are probably gone here. I feel like you'll rotate out with Jaden Sewer. Finally having a good week last week. Loves to get some bad bounces or drops over the try line, though, the poor fella. I don't know if you saw his amazing chip to himself to get the worst bounce possible and slip on his arse. It was good times.
A few forwards put it on the old toe this week.
Our man John, welcome back, good sir. Hope your classic decisions were bang on, and we'll get you across the draft next year, old son. Can feel it brewing. All right. Okay, so that's it. I don't want to talk about the Dragons anymore. I just was almost like a bit of a trick thing, mate. We move on.
Yeah, tug and cheek, Dragons.
Yeah. Hey, hello. Tongia and cheek. There we go.
Hey,
all right.
Thank
you. Here all day. All right. Showmanship means I should just leave the potty at that point. Hey, mate. If you fire 1,000 shots a day and you hit on one, that's a good day.
That's true.
For the Redford. Cowboys versus Bulldogs. Let's go.
Oof.
Yeah, your Cowboys, Todd. One of your other teams now. You actually get to not play them there. They would be the one that you just don't like. Apparently you're going to get the backup from all of the Origin players. So it looks like a really tough matchup. A real quick one, boys. Would you, rest of season, have any of those back five, with the exception of Scott Drinkwater, who's obviously a bona fide, stud starter? Would you have any of them as a CTW 4 or above rest of season? Simo?
I would.
Including Talangi in that? Or
I was going to say, my apologies, I should have included Talangi. Is obviously at least a fourth, possibly a third CTW. Is quite good. So, with the exception of Talangi and Drinkwater.
I would have Derby as a floating fourth in good matchups. He's been the bane of my existence, actually, Rob Derby, because I think I'd started him like 3 weeks before this.
Yeah.
And he'd done nothing. And then I was off him last week, and of course he bloody scored early.
Good,
and it was a pretty good try because he had to regather it and score it. So it was a bit iffy, but I think that you can see that Drinkwater left to right pass. He does, he made Cole Felt so good for so long from a Supercoach perspective. Like, obviously Derby's not to the same extent in terms of a finisher, but if you're in a Cowboys wing with Drinkwater there, I think you've got to have some relevance. Cowboys, in the right matchups, I could see Derby. But the other guys, I would say no. It's only just Derby for me. I forget Purdue's.
Purdue, baby.
He's a guaranteed, probably a top 3, a CTW 3. I'm pretty high on Purdue still. I think back at centre, it's good for him. So that'd
That
be the
try
two
he
for me.
scored was so nice, Simo. That try he scored on the weekend. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was just like you see how fast he was. Like, albeit like he burnt a second rower playing out there. I forget who it was now, but
Joe Chan.
no, it was Joe Tan. Yeah,
Joe Chan,
but
yeah.
I mean, he's going to burn a lot of players because he's that quick. Like the fullback couldn't even come across because of just how fast he was. Like, I mean, he was no chance. So yeah, good player, Purdue, and he'd be someone I just plug in, wouldn't even think twice.
Yep, I like it. I think Purdue. Now, if Murray Taulagi was dropped, Todzer, which a frustrated owner or a buy round squeeze may have got him, easy waiver. How high?
Yeah, anything you need.
Very
like,
high, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to spend. Like, who did I say before was the number one? A no-brainer.
Walker. Yeah.
Yeah, Walker. Taulagi for me is a real solid, CTW2 kind of guy. He's not going to give you that Herbie Farnworth, but yeah, 3 at worst. I'd be whatever you need to get him, to be honest.
Yeah, I had thought that was the trajectory, and I think you might get lucky if someone's desperate, because it's very, from what I heard, it's actually even a surprise that he's on the extended this week, so almost certainly won't play. If that happens, could be a sneaky little buy low for a team that could be very gettable that people have forgotten about. So good luck, listeners, with that one.
Just to go through the Cowboys draw as well, like it's pretty decent. Like obviously this week's a no-go in the Bulldogs, but they've got the Dolphins, the Dragons, the Sharks, then the Eels, Knights, West Tigers. Like that's you got obviously got the
Pretty
Bulldogs, Dolphins, and Sharks are a bit iffy, but you've got Dragons, Eels, Knights, Tigers. That's very good. And then the Broncos in the GF if you make it around 26. So it's not like there's too many like Panthers and Storm. It's just that 1 week this week.
So our man John has asked a very specific question here about Purdue. So what do you think about Purdue to Karapani? I'm tempted to captain him due to the left wing scores well, and the Bronx are playing the Titans. I certainly look, it's a bit late. Assuming again this is more of a classic question. A bit late for Karapani in terms of the value, but I mean he's still only like 500k-ish, and boy, there's tries to be had in that Bronx team with the full spine there now. Ezra Humming, Walsh back. I'd rather Karapani rest of season personally, quite comfortably in that one, which I might be in disagreement with you two lads. If this were a draft question, it actually still holds as a very interesting one. I wouldn't captain, by the way, John. I think that surely you'll have better captain options than that. But geez, he could score 3 or 4. He absolutely could. Purdue or Karapani rest of season? If you have a strong feeling, Todd, go.
Well, I don't really have a strong feeling. If you're to say gun to head, I would take Karapani and the Bronx team over Purdue. I would still love both.
It's close.
It's
close. They're both pretty decent. Simo, any strong feelings for that one?
Oh yeah, I'd probably take Purdue, but I mean, yeah, you could go either way. Honestly, it's that close.
I think if this is a classic related, it might be an odd time to trade out Purdue, John, because if you've held on to him this long, he's going to have a much better run than he's had. But I think, Karapani bringing him in, mate, it's not going to hurt you somewhere there. So hopefully you can find a way there.
When it gets this close for me, like I know Purdue's not losing his spot, and Karapani probably won't either. But there's at least a chance that Karapani could. Obviously you got Cobbo and Arthurs and that there. Like, do I think he loses it? No, but Purdue's just 100% not. So when it's this close, I just slightly lean the guy that I know has got locked in security versus not.
John says thanks. G'day, John.
On you, John.
All right. So the other name I want to bring up, fellas, I had a pillow ready for this. I just couldn't quite find it. But Reese, Robson. Reese Robson. Yeah, that guy. Jesus. God, he bores me. I've got no interest. Just nothing. I think he's crazy overrated too, and I know that puts me in a minority. I think he's fine, but I just think not a lot of hype here. Supercoach has been spotty at best. Yeah, of course, you got to waiver him. If you need a hooker, he's going to be better than a lot out there, and he may well have been dropped through this origin period. How high a claim, Todd? I'm not going to argue much, but...
Nah, mid to low. Like, averaging like 50 something this year. Like it's been a real bad one for Reece Robson. There's going to be teams out there needy. And again, like if you're in need, there's way worse options at hooker. But
100%.
Mid to low.
Him versus JMK, Simo.
Oof.
Yeah, look, if JMK's going to play 80, then you go JMK. Like the knock on Marshall King earlier in the year was that he was getting like spelled 10 minutes either side of half time. But now they've got all these injuries. So you've got obviously no Maxi Platt there. Donohue's starting at lock now, so he doesn't spell him. They're not even naming Harrison Graham on the bench to give him a spell. So I think Marshall King's going to play 80 minutes going forward. So for me, it's Marshall King. Both guys, throughout this year, they're both sort of been the poster boys in a bad way of what can be wrong with going high on hookers. Like, if you're not going to get the super studs, these sort of middle tier of hookers, like, and even Api Coruscant has been a bit this way throughout the year, like that range of guys that we felt kind of confident in as finishing like somewhere between third through to sixth at the position. Like they've all been pretty ordinary. I mean, I know Blake Brayley has come out the other side of that and been all right, but I mean, who's to say that next year Blake Brayley's not the guy that stinks it up and then these other guys do what he's done this year? Like they're really tough, that sort of range of hooker, and I think that's why hookers are so devalued in it. Will be devalued a lot in drafts next year because it's just unless you're getting the cream of the crop, these guys for here are just kind of all a bit of a much of a muchness.
A good hypothetical right now, just to leave with you lads, and it just dawned on me. Can you imagine if Pete Cam-Smith was in this era, how much of a first overall pick he would be by every possible metric you could put together? Because a guy who can average like 90 at hooker would be beating his position by 30 right now, or in that range. Bonkers. It's actually crazy to think out loud, isn't it?
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, Cameron Smith is obviously a freak of nature, but yeah, I mean, Harry
even
Grant,
Robbie Farah.
Robbie Farah was very good too.
He was an 85 average guy perennially that you could get a bit cheaper than Cam Smith. Imagine how early on draft boards he'd go based on his peak career. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's got that position at the moment. Like, obviously, there's other guys you can talk to, like Reed Marnie and who was the other guy I was thinking of?
Wade Egan.
I had a good example, but I've forgotten who it was. But yeah, there's just guys throughout there that often let you down, so it's tough. But yeah, if you don't have one, you probably still have to spend a mid to low tier waiver to get these sorts of guys. So that's
maybe
just the game you play.
Five-ish for Robson is fine, and just don't be that excited. Like maybe he has a couple upside games on the run home now to Easter Origin. Meso says, agreed, this has been a bad season for Brand Hooker. I picked up Wade Egan very late and went fine. Fist bump to you, sir. Wade Egan's been my saviour this year as well. Loved it.
I was just looking at my rankings there from pre-season. I had Wade Egan ranked as the 12th best hooker and averaging about a 52, which is where he's averaging, but that 52 is actually 6th best hooker this year.
He's averaging more than that. He's averaging 58. Good son. What are you on
58,
about?
58, my bad. I read the wrong stats. My bad. Anyway.
Jeez. But it is 12. A shame.
Like,
it is a shame that Wade Egan is ranked as high as he is. It absolutely is. It's pretty rough. He shouldn't be up there. He should be the guy you get away with, not the guy
you kind of watch that 2 pre-season, Toddy?
No, I had him at 5.
Just bumps, mate. So good man.
Fair play.
Connor Watson.
Yeah, I think I thought I had that idea was that Braden Smith was going to take some minutes off Connor Watson at hooker, but that didn't pan out that way.
Absolutely. Any interest in Nanari Tuala with Montoya going down? I'm not that quick to scoff at this. As a left winger who I think has more talent than Montoya, personally, in terms of a finisher, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some tries to be had here.
Yeah, not something I can get behind, that's for sure.
I think free agent stab, see how you go, especially as the 4th, 5th. Bulldogs will do some things on the run home once they figure out what's happening with Galvin. Very confusing right now. Quick one just to mention, boys. if you'd have said the trade value of Joshy Curran a third of the way through the season before he started getting suspended for multiple weeks, you'd be thinking you had a bona fide top 10 FRF. Boy, has that bottomed out hardcore in recent times.
Hard.
Is he just a victim of this new rotation? Is that what I'm looking at here? Is there any hope for him as one of the... In terms of Byler, you could literally get him almost off waivers right now. It'd be very close.
I think with the emergence of guys like Hayward and Hayes have just taken over all his minutes, hey?
Seems to happen to him. Happened to him with the Warriors too.
Well, we've been saying this, and Max King's been... he's barely played through the Origin period because the Bulldogs' buys have been so bad for Origin players. So, obviously, Max King coming back is just going to add to that. It seems as though they want to just spread those minutes out between Hayes and Hayward, and even Sam Hughes is back now. There's just it's a weird one with Joshy Curran because we all see the player he is. It's just for whatever reason they don't seem to like to thrust him into big roles. So
no,
he'll be out there in a few waivers, and he's probably more of a bench player just for the depth, but because if anything was to happen hypothetically to kick out Will Preston, if he used to ever play second row, you'd be all about it. But I guess the issue then is like Tupanua, his big suspension's not that far away from being up. So yeah, someone that probably should just be best on a bench and just leave it at that.
Over to the Wars versus the Tigers, and here he is, boys. Cannot believe you said the number one claim was Sam Walker when none other than the man himself, Tanner Boyd, has absolutely been getting the Rezzies pumped up, scored points at will, and his goal kicking's above 80%, I read. Tell you what, mate. Frame an argument of how he's not better than Sammy Walker. Seriously.
He can keep that. Like I said it last week on the potty, I think it was just I thought the Tanner Boyd was going to get the gig, and sure enough, I just think that Tamari Martin offers a little bit more at the 14 role, just for the Warriors in terms of coverage at the backs there. So I can see why they've gone this way. And Tanner has been killing it in Rezzies, but we've seen Tanner Boyd in first grade before, so I wouldn't be racing out to waiver him. That's for sure.
He
might be an option for me this week, to be honest.
I cannot believe that Tamari Martin is not starting in this game. I think that's absolutely bonkers. He did so much in that time that he had in the stint where SJ was down last year. Surely you give him another gig at 7. I think he's a better 7 than a 6. I think with Harris Tavita's emergence as a 6, I think that would actually be a pretty good fit too. But I'm not a Tanner Boyd fan. Never will be. Just don't believe. If you look at his SuperCoach, I had a really close look at his stats. It is spotty. It is all over the place. And it's partially his stats, if you look at it, is because he had time at hooker where things were not pretty. We know this. That was a mistake. Should never have played hooker at NRL level. He then played a little bit at half, and there's some weird smatterings of upside in there, only for it to just dip again real quick with lots of low ebbs. He will goal kick, though, for a side that should be still on the front foot. So we've got to put some... He's going to be waived. I'm sitting here and I'm saying if you need a halfback, he's as good a stab as any out there, probably. How hard do you want to go, Simo?
Oh, I don't want to go very hard, but if you own Fogarty, if you own DCE,
Moses,
you mentioned Moses, Cleary potentially might not back up. Metcalf, obviously,
Nicarima owners out there could benefit as well.
Yeah, because he's got that duel. So, yeah, how high do I want to go? I don't want to go any higher than 5, but if you're sitting there and you're needy and you've got the third claim, you have to do what you have to do. You can't.
When you're staring down Phoenix Crossland, mate, you're getting a little desperate.
Yeah, that's exactly. That'll do anything to anyone. Spend the number 1. Christ, get him out of my team. But yeah.
Yeah, it has to be done. It's just, it doesn't feel right. And I think we're not thinking the odds of success are too great. And the problem for me in spending a high claim is he comes out, he looks like Tanner Boyd has looked for most of his NRL career. And Tamari Martin's sitting there. It's not like you haven't got the guy who should probably be playing ahead of him literally in the team. I have a hard time getting behind him holding this spot rest of season.
You have to just buy into the fact that Andrew Webster's brought him across there, obviously for a reason. They need a goal kicker. He's not a bad goal kicker in fairness to Tanner Boyd. Like that's probably one.
I'll give you
Kicking is the one thing he can do. Like you hope for Tanner Boyd, if you want to just take a glass half full approach, is that the coach has signed him, believes in him, has given him the crack. You hope that he can be like 70% Luke Metcalf and just be that sort of game managing style where he gets dropouts and just gets goal kicking and a few try assists off bombs. Like you have to just hope it's kind of like what Brad Schneider did a few weeks ago when Cleary was out and Brad Schneider hit like a 90 something because he was just running the show, and that's kind of like what Jamal Fogarty does at Canberra. Like Tanner Boyd can be a watered down version of that. So yeah. Tough one, but
Meso's on it here. He's gone. They must be on Tanner Boyd for his in-game kicking and goal kicking against Tigers. I'm keen, regrettably. Moses owner. I feel you, Meso. It's like, I'm staring it down as well, along with many. We're forgetting about Dean Hawkins, mate. What are we doing, Meso? Should have got on him when he first came in. He's been an absolute stud that no one trusts ever. Meso's added that Tupanua got injured at the back end of his suspension, did a hammy at training. So that actually gives that current stash more credence there, Simo. I really like that. Meso's added, can you gents compare Boyd with Hastings this week? An example. The only way that becomes close is if Hastings does in fact goal kick, which I don't think he does. I think that's Gagai's gig. So I don't think particularly close at all, Meso. And obviously given the matchup for the Knights as well versus what Boyd has, easy Boyd. Hastings free agent at best if you get stuck with him at the back end of the week. We've also got John has a classic question, has to be, what about Garrick to Lomax for the rest of the season? That is an absolute no-go, good sir. That is as sideways as all hell. If you're a serious classic owner who's got either trying to win head-to-head or the overall, you should have Garrick and Lomax in your top 4 CTWs, I think. It's pretty hard. Lomax is right there. He's like right on the edge of that, but you should do. Dylan Lucas for Lomax is something that's probably red hot on the cards for me in Classic in a couple of weeks. Just saying. All right. Cal. G'day, Cal. Good to see you, mate.
G'day, Cal.
G'day, Cal. Cal says, g'day. Here's a value comparison for you. Boyd versus Luai, rest of season. And I'm with Meso. That is a spicy take. Love that. Spicy question, I should say. Boyd versus Luai. Luai, without Galvin there, has been the main playmaker. We've obviously had the emergence of Latu, who looked outstanding last week.
Latu is so good. Boy, he can tackle. Holy.
A little bit of the Katoa is about some of the stepping as well.
That play on the left-hand side where he just slowed up, held it inside.
A little excited watching that.
Beautiful.
We want to see more players like this, don't we, Todd? It got you off your seat. You're like, hang on, there's a young stud here. If I was a Manly fan right now, I'd be absolutely spitting chips that he flew the coop, to be honest. I'm going to go with, contrary to every bit of advice I just gave, I think the presence of Fainu now means I'll go back to Boyd, and I hate it. I
was just thinking the same thing.
I hate it so much.
Oh, we've seen Luai when he has a 7 in that team just sort of stink it up, dude.
I know. My God. And that's probably what it's going to
be.
At least
so good.
At least Luai's at 6, though, Todd. It gives me hope that he is going to keep running the ball a lot because it has looked better for the Tigers, I must admit. But I think Latu's here to own that team for Supercoach. I don't mind Latu as a start rest of the season, by the way. I think he's got upside. I really like it. Any disagreement, Simo? Be the voice of reason. Would you take Luai over Boyd?
Would not take Luai. Give me the guy that I don't know what he's going to be this year. Yeah. It's just Tanner Boyd could be crap, but I'd rather take the chance on him showing us something rather than what Luai puts up.
Yep, fair play. Now, DWZ is back. He's really risky in-game injury risk is so high, but geez, you love the hair flapping about. And yep, if you need a 4 CT dub this week, boys, it'll cost you bugger all. Come waiver option. Could be the option you're looking for to cross for a couple of meaties. Not the worst shout. Also wanted to mention Leka Halasima, stay of execution with Obviously, Mr. Capewell on the extended only. If he manages to start, then that is not horrible. I think that's fine. Just know that don't overvalue him because I think it's not his position to lose rest of the season. Even if he starts, it's limited and capped to about a 55, 60 minute. That's still good, but it's going to stop him being elite. Any disagreement, boys?
No, that's perfect. I think I said last week between him and Laban, it's going to be who's in form and whatnot. I think Webby's just got two young guys he's looking to protect here, so giving a bit of game time to both of them. They're both really similar in terms of upside, so I actually like the coaching here of the young guys from Webby.
I do too. I actually think I would not hate to have either of them stashed on my bench to use for weeks like this because it only takes one injury and you might have an absolute bona fide minimum third 2RF with upside. So exciting times, Mr. Todd.
I love it. I love the YEAAAAH, baby. You know me. It's very good.
To the Tigers.
They were good, man. I know you said that the Roosters lost the game, but they showed something on the weekend. They definitely did, but they showed grit.
They did. And you know who did show something? Now, for those who know how much I can't stop talking about Lucy, I reckon I could see a smile on Simo's face. He's finally arrived, Simo. It's happened. Playing off the back of Latu Fainu, his brother, we finally saw the guy power through a gap, look like the behemoth that he's supposed to be, and actually just generally look like the power unit that we've been on for like 2-3 years now. I love what I saw on the weekend, mate, and I know you saw it too. Come on, give it to me.
I sure did. Yeah, like how could you not? If he wasn't man of the match, he should have been. Samuela, like he was great. One of the commentators said something which I thought was really interesting. It was like, is Luai playing there bad for Samuela? Because Luai often, he'll dummy and then he'll dink back in and go and come back the open side, and it's just there mustn't be like cohesion there. So I thought it was really interesting, like an interesting take that maybe with his brother there, like he could knife something. So
I think it's a different player. I feel like because Luai does that jinking, that stop-starty play, Samuela's just got to find the timing. I think he just doesn't have that timing yet. I've seen him like go through gaps and Luai's just missed him. He's just been too far ahead of Luai. I think if they build that connection, Luai can actually get him through heaps of those gaps. So
I gotta say, like, I am a Luai fan, like you are, Tots, but it must be absolutely numbing, like brain numbing sometimes to get that timing right because you think he stopped his jinking and he does another one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, Latu's found him, and hopefully it's not just he's not locked off to one side of the field. I think, given who the coach is, who tell you what, buns used to pop up pretty much everywhere. Surely he gets them just molding, that sort of cross-sectional type play that works so well. Let's hope. So I'm going to say, I think if he's out there, I think he is at least. You're going to have to own him because he could be one of those sneaky late season surge guys. And Tigers at least in attack. I mean, I love Dewey as a 6. I've said it for a long time. I think Dewey as a 6 is plenty good for NRL. But anyway, that's me. Cal says, "Good day, Meso, and cheers, guys. Great to have you aboard, fella." Meso has added, yes, this is the one. Jacob Laban, owner. This is a minefield. Here. Niokore should move to the middle, but it's dicey, don't start. It absolutely is. Agree that Niokore, I think I've actually really liked him. Like Todd's always said, middle impact role actually is quite good because he's a good power runner, but he gets tired easily.
Too, but he gets too tired,
He does. Getting a bit of love here, Todd. What's new? Meso says, good take, Toddy, about the good coaching. I mean, he's not just a sexy face, son. Look at him. Big brain. All right. So that's a good fun one to discuss. Stafford Toa is one you can own. The Forbes Ferrari is back out of the shop and actually scoring tries. He's actually running the ball a lot better than I remember.
Is he bigger? Is he bigger this year?
He's bigger. He's got bigger shoulders, and he looks like he's actually running with a bit of purpose. Yeah, he's actually been decent. I wouldn't start him.
He's a decent guy on the free agency for the rest of the year.
He is. Sunui Taruva, though.
Holy.
If Sunui Taruva is out, I've told you this, unashamedly a massive fan of him. I think he's fantastic. Obviously, Buller, we believe, my man Jerome Buller is back probably a week, maybe 2. I reckon fire up Taruva as a 4th in this.
Do you know as good as he looked on the weekend? He only scored a 39 in SuperCoach.
It was
That's
low.
Just shocked me there.
he just did all the real fundamentals really well, Tods, and he does it at
was
such a high
awesome.
rate. You just assume that he's doing a shitload, but he's more of he's your high effort guy. I don't know if he's got the skills on the sweep, but he looked good when he played internationally, so maybe something. Fanua Pole as well. Simo, did he end up getting a decent score together? Because, geez, he played a good game on the weekend.
No, he popped 30, 39 or something. It wasn't much chop.
Yeah, rough. Because
looked good though, eh?
He looked fantastic.
Tony
Sukar played 80 minutes on an edge, so he only scored 30 odd with that 80 minutes. So I don't know if you want to have a little pop there, feel free. But
boys, how good was seeing Tyrrell May go down the blind side trying to take he's miscalculated the numbers and had to go back the other way. He's got 3-on-3. I can't pass. I love it.
Appy Coruscant, the absolute. Has there been a season where someone's fantasy value has changed so frequently and so rapidly? You're thinking, you beauty, Talon De Silva gone, and it's like, oh crap, owning Coro, phenomenal. Tristan Hope pops up, plays well, and now he's stuck on the bench. It has just been an absolute nightmare to own Coro, a player we all love on this, and if he gets 80 minutes, he's an absolute stud. So, good luck. You just got to start him and hope for the best. Not much you can do. Captain Rivalry. Hello, mate. Welcome aboard again. Good to see you. Does Hastings hold his spot? Hastings versus King Tongia. Oh, God. That's rough chat. I'd go King Tongia. Yeah, I can't have Hastings. I can't do it. I can't do it.
They may not score a try for the rest of the season, hey, like dead set.
Yeah, we're off the Knights. A shout out as well of just, I guess, a message of hope for the Tigers, but I also think Sione Fainu is a beast as well. That try he scored on the weekend, he's got that dog in him. He's a beast.
First time 3 brothers have scored an NRL game together. It's a cool little stat.
Enjoyed it. That. Heath Mason loitering, probably a little unlucky not to get the fullback spot back, I would have thought. But anyway, each to their own. And 2 more games. Sunday. So we've got the mighty Parramatta Eels versus the resurgent Penrith Panthers. Now, tricky one if you're an owner. Simo, you're brilliant at analysis and sort of advice on these moments, mate. So try and talk the listeners through what you would do. You're a Cleary owner. You're an Edwards owner. You're a To'o owner's the low-hanging fruit. Prepare someone else, start him earlier in the round. You're not getting To'o. I can't believe he's... What is he doing being named on an extended? That's so silly. Come on.
Well, I mean, if you own To'o, you got to try and get Alamotti. That's where it is.
Yeah.
That's where the conversation begins and ends, really.
Yeah, good shot.
Like, I think the same thing with Cleary and all those guys. Like, it's probably not really rocket science here. If you own Edwards, you get Laurie. If you own Cleary, you get Schneider. Like, it's just handcuff 101, really. I wouldn't try and add too much more into that. It's because like these Panthers guys have shown that when they fill in, they can still score okay. So
I'll challenge you a bit because we previously, Simo, the reason I asked is normally, mate, I'm all about your Dylan, our man Dane Laurie. We've been a huge fan. But it's really not happened for him this year when he's filled in. He's been pretty damn ho-hum, to be honest with you. Are you
like
just you're back on because of the matchup? Or?
Yeah, well, if you own Dylan Edwards, there's not that many fullbacks out there you can go and grab. Like, it's...
True.
And you want to give Dylan Edwards the maximum chance he can to play in this because, like, it's such a good matchup. Like, if he plays, then you're missing out on a very good player. So I'm sure Laurie hasn't shown much, but for the chance it gives me to see if Edwards is actually going to be a number for me, I'd rather just, for that potential, I'd just take my licks with Laurie and just go with that. Like, I'm not going to pick up Taruva Taruva's not fullback only, fullback eligible, but I'm not going to go and pick up like a Fletcher Hunt or I'm trying to think of fullback guys that are even out there, like Trey Fuller. I mean, Trey Fuller plays maybe, but if you play Trey Fuller on Friday night, you play Trey Fuller and then Edwards ends up playing, like you wouldn't be super thrilled about that. Like Kennedy, no, like I wouldn't.
It's just To'o Simo is the one. I think if you could find one of the good CTWs we recommended earlier, I would get on one of them. Like in a good matchup, a player that you fancy. Like, for example, I'll give you a one I think is bang on. So a Sione Katoa or a Mulatala if they were dropped, right? Ahead of waiting on Toa, who almost certainly won't play if you can't get Alamotti, obviously. I like your Alamotti shout, though.
Yeah. Like, DWZ's also one, possibly.
That's a good one.
Probably not a bad matchup there. Gives you a bit more time to see if these guys play. But Casey McLean might also be out there. Maybe he got dropped in our league over the buys. So if you can get a Panthers guy, that obviously helps a lot.
Yep. And Meso's asked the question. And on this point, who is the CTW who drops out if Tor plays? Can we be confident it's Alamotti who would go?
Yes.
I would love to have said no previously, but I believe it absolutely is. I really think it is there. Shout out to our man, Captain Rivalry said, epic battle, Hastings versus King Tonga. And thanks, gents. Alexander Downey, welcome back, sir. Good to hear from you. How about Sloan to plug a fullback spot even though he's on the wing? Throw it to you, Todd, man.
Very tough matchup against the Roosters. Like, I would still be sort of trying to get Dane Laurie in that situation in terms of like Edwards. I'd try and get Laurie before I'd go down the Sloan route.
Yeah, I can understand the logic especially if you're chasing a win, Alexander, like you think you're behind in the matchup and you chase an upside. Sloan, I think Vossi was all about being the double man, scores doubles, so fair play.
Should have had a triple, let's be real.
He should have. I tell you what he is, and I tell you what will happen if he goes to a team like the Storm or something on the cheap. He's still electric speed off the mark. There's no denying that. So keen to see.
If he does go to the Panthers, like I think there was a few rumors he was looking to go, but they were looking to pick him up because he can play fullback obviously at a pinch as well. Like it's actually I know he's got his Bolts title Sloan, but like he's still NRL standard because he just has that ability to score a try that most people can't. Like he's just that quick.
Yep. Ghana Papali'i need to be mentioned, lads, as a plug and play for this week. With Martin does, he's a tough bugger. He tends to back up. So obviously, if whoever's left, because we know Sorensen has still got at least one more week. I think it is, possibly two. Ooh, that's close. I think it's one. Yeah. So I actually really like the look of Luke Garner. If he's going to be playing on an edge, getting 65 plus minutes. I'm absolute green light to start him as a 1 week special. I think he's a great third 2RF. Any disagreement?
No disagreement from me.
Was that Garner? Sorry, I missed who that was.
Garner. Yeah, Garner.
Yeah.
I think he's a good start.
Yeah, he's a CTW as well, so you can fire him up in a few spots. Yeah.
Yep, very handy one. May cost you a cheeky low-end claim to bring him in, but I think he can do some work for you. All right. I like your Casey McLean shout too, Sim. I know he gave him a fair bit on the potty early, but because he dummies and goes so much, the chance of line break tries is pretty high. So he's actually averaging a cheeky 60. And I think from what we've seen, I think it probably is his position, especially in the center now. Like I don't think Alamotti's coming back into a center position. So it's literally, does Alamotti take either of one of the two remaining wing spots? That's it. So get on Casey McLean. I think he's a sneaky waiver claim, actually.
Yeah, I don't hate the shout. I think I'm with you. It's Alamotti's the scapegoat. Like I shouldn't say scapegoat, but Alamotti's definitely the man left out there.
Just another one of these Josh Curran types who we all love in the Supercoach community that just doesn't quite hang on to his spot. It's a bit frustrating. Parramatta. Dean Hawkins is obviously the second coming of Joey Johns. Don't even know why Moses would come back. He's braining them in this little period. Is this one of those moments where he's just going to have done it the whole time and all of us should have got on while Moses was out? He's actually looked pretty good in attack. Anything, Tots? Give me that face. That's a sexy look. Someone clip that.
Clip that. That's me loving Dean Hawkins. No, thank you. Look, he's had some good runs, but boy, howdy. Like, it's just, we're talking about Dean Hawkins here, mate. He's had about 7 different clubs. Like, he's looked good in this Parramatta team. I don't know. It's not for me.
He absolutely has. And I will be remiss of me not to mention our resident celebrity, Big Kiwi Nick, all the way from South Korea. Hey, boys, was a Slater here. And I just want to say, I'm just going to say have an intimate time because my boy Billy smashed them with only Queensland pride. Like, I'm not even going to begin to unpack that up. Queensland, good on you, mate. Some of your best.
I think the message was Queensland.
Queensland is all I got out of that, and good to have you on board, Billy's dad. That's really good shtick from you, Big Kiwi. Just sticking true to a joke from about a month ago. All right, this Parramatta side up the wires. He is. There you go. That's more like it. Up the wires. Dylan Brown trajectory rest of season. Can you frame a market with all the injuries to the halves now? He's probably by default got his halfback going. He just has showed bugger all, Simo. Like, he'd be so gettable in trades, though, mate. Like, he'd have to be, surely.
Yeah, he does. He'd have to be. Obviously, he's got the duel as well, so there's a few spots he could fill. But
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's someone that you'd be super keen to go and get at the moment. Like, it's been for what it's going to likely cost you to obtain him. Like, he's kind of flattened out into just being what he is, which is certainly not the superstar we've seen in the years gone by.
Will Penasini or the Fox? Any interest in either? Just say if you're keen on one of them, float the name up, Todd.
I don't mind the Fox as like that 4-5 guy you can plug and play. I will say with Parramatta, man, they got 4 really tough games coming up. They got the Panthers, they got the Raiders, Broncos, and Melbourne in the next 4. So it's pretty average, that run there. So, I mean, I wouldn't be racing out to go and trade for Dylan Brown even, to be perfectly honest, like Simo said. And then in terms of, like, you know, firing up the Fox and Penasini, they're real matchup plays, and those forwards do not give me any confidence. So I wouldn't be spending up on those guys, or even – I think they're free agent stashes on the bench.
Love the shout, mate. I think green lights for the run home. Yongi's shown enough, albeit the matchups are tough. Obviously, Zach Lomax is matchup proof. He's a beast, but I do think his absolute peak upside is probably going to be hard to hit consistently through this run. So, like, might top out at that 80 or 90, which is still fantastic. Jack Williams, absolute waiver darling of the season almost, just braining them. Fantastic real life player. Now he's in the middle as well. Get on him. Junior Balu and his offloading ability, fantastic. Just keep it coming. And Katunga has been very good, like really good. Does that dry up, or are we keen to see that continue, boys? Like Simo, he has actually looked fantastic as well.
He has. I think he'll be a pretty good guy to have for this back end of the year, although it is a tough run. Only thing that would worry me with Katonga is if he starts to get – there was 1 week a few weeks back where he got less minutes, and it was kind of weird why. Like, it looks now that we can look back on it, it seems to be just a bit of a blip on the radar, but that'd be the only thing. But as long as he keeps punching out 80s, I think 80 minutes, he should be a pretty decent Supercoach player, at least a 2-3 borderline guy. So, yeah, if you've got him, I'm okay with him rest of the way unless things change. Well,
it's Kelma Tuolangi watch. I mean, the man back-to-back 90s absolutely brained them. When he comes back, watch out, I say. It's Lucy, Samuela Faidu, and Tuolangi obsession. It's horrible. He did 90. Meso asks, Bailey Simonson on the extended, any interest? Not for me with that run. Can't get behind it, and loves an injury, unfortunately.
He will come back in, though, eventually. With Sam Rani hasn't been overly great in the centres, and
no.
I don't know. Sean Russell is meh.
Yeah, Sean Russell. So imagine it's Bailey Simonson and will Penasini come back in to the centres?
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. Yeah.
All right. Jermaine Hopgood, it's too far. It's
Big
too far
stink.
gone. It just hasn't happened. He'll be almost bust of the season. It's pretty close. Non-injury related bust of the season. He has got to be on a very short list, I would like to think.
It'll be some value next year, surely. Just back him in next year. Yes,
Cal. Support this week. Kelver is low-key good. I'm on the stash. I've got through to one listener, boys. This is a big moment. Thank you.
Now we have to talk about him every week, Cal.
Did you not cop to Tola last year, Cal?
What are you up to, Cal?
Oh, Cal. Cal's my boy. Cal's been on Team Redford since day dot. Love your work, Cal. All right. And last but not least, the Titans v Broncos. I think listeners might even think I'm a Broncos fan, but I got to tell you this. This is a beautiful thing to look at here, gentlemen. Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds, some guy in 9, Xavier Willison in the 8 jersey as well, just for the extra gravy with no Jensen at the moment, and Haas in 10 and Carrigan in 13. Got to tell you, boys, if there's a team that's currently not in the top 4 that looks terrifying on paper, it is this team right here. Holy crap. With Stags playing as well as he is, this looks like Supercoach Goldmine to me. I think you just want to own. I even think the right winger will start scoring tries in this setup now, where historically it's just been all going to the left. Now, how long is Jensen out for? Because that is very important in terms of Willison's minutes.
I'm not sure. It was a calf, was it, for Jensen?
Older player, so calf injuries not the best.
I'm not 100% sure on that, though.
I'm happy with FRF2. I know Willison, burned us when he looked like he was playing on an edge earlier in the year. One of us got excited. Can't remember who. Some Redfordson man. But I'm getting excited again. Call me crazy, but I like the look of it here. Green light for everyone, bar Piakura, who even hit upside up. Still never going to be. I don't care. If he goes on to average 75, I won't be there.
Poor Brendan Piakura.
Ben Hunt, boys. I have to talk about it from a Supercoach perspective. Billy Walters has been fantastic off the bench for the Broncos. It has to be said. He's offered plenty of spark. He's not getting 80 minutes, Ben Hunt, nor should he at this stage of his career. What's the first week? You'd be very nervous to start him in the 5'8" spot. I know that. That's not for me. I can understand a stash because if he gets humming and he starts knocking over, can you imagine you got Xavier Willison, Payne Haas, and Carrigan ripping it near the goal line, and one of the best burrowers we've ever seen, like literally in the time I've watched football, literally can just dummy and go. We're going to see it. A lot.
Old dozer. Yep.
That's what he does. So how many minutes does he need of tackle floor to combine with probably, I honestly think the under-over for him run home here is probably somewhere 4 or 5 tries in that range. Is that enough to make him a bona fide starter in the 5'8"?
I mean, if he gets 4 or 5 tries, then yes. Like, there's only 7 weeks of Supercoach to go. Like, that's one every 2 weeks.
Tries.
Like, it's. I mean, how many tries did you say? 2.
8.
I missed that.
8.
Try around.
8
I honestly, I'm probably oversold. I just had a quick stab, and so if you said there's 8 left, Simo, honestly, if you gave me right now live punt, if you set the line at 2.5, I would take the over. I'd take 3+.
In 8 weeks, yeah. I don't know, like 55 minutes. You got that?
That's what I was thinking too, because Billy has genuinely been good. So,
like, what's been the breakdown for like Pakes and Walters? Like, have a look at Billy Walters' stats there, Todd. Like, how many minutes has Billy been taking? Has it been 25 or has it been 15? Like, it's because I feel like it's always hard to tell what Billy Walters does.
It's been about 30. For the last 4 weeks, it's been 30 minutes.
Yeah.
For Billy Walters.
So 50-30 is the split. So Ben Hunt ends up getting 55, Walters 25. That's sort of what I was thinking.
30-ish tackles. He'll run it a little because his half instincts from the last few years will take over. So he's not going to be. I'd like to think he's going to run the ball between sort of 3 and 5 times in those 55 minutes, and then you got the goal line plunge on top. What really sucks here is if he had have played just enough to get dual eligibility, completely, it'd be a very different argument here. I'd be all over him as a hooker start. Like, he'd leap up into the top 6-ish probably. Given where he's at now at 5'8", that's so hard to start him over an upside guy, personally.
Yeah.
Stash and hope.
He's a stash for sure. He is. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are going to see him at 9 and think big waiver, like spend a big waiver. And I think the fact we're even talking about where we are now, like the fact we're even here is way below what a lot of people will be expecting. So, yeah, I think we're probably going to be more down on Ben Hunt compared to consensus.
I could see if you have an established roster and you have one of those sort of if you're like the Cam Munster, JC Burton, even who's had troubles with injury and stuff, he could be that fantastic insurance policy that could end up being really good. And then you've also got the ability to, if you've got a flex, he could amount to a flexy sexy guy. Like, it's possible. I kind of am warming to, as we've had this chat, Meso said, love this Ben Hunt chat, SC draft issue of the round. I agree, mate. It's a big one to debate. There's just, Simo, you always give the advice, mate, that I'm on board with here is a player that could literally just break things on the run home where you're not guaranteed. There is a shot that he literally just, this Broncos team hums so spectacularly that he just eats up easy meters out of dummy half and sets up a couple of, like, what if he does a couple of face balls on top of that to a Payne Haas, to a Carrigan, to a Wilson, to a Ben Takura? Like, that's also possible.
Well, that's the thing. If we're wrong and he ends up playing 62 minutes,
Oof.
like 60, like
Huge.
consistent
Just
60s with the occasion. Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm not saying 65, just somewhere between like 60 to 63, like it's on the higher end of what we think. He gets that extra like 5 to 8 minutes a game. If we're wrong and that happens, and the Broncos are good, like he's incredible at 5'8".
I'm gonna the absolute clincher for me here is he is also, and this is the reason he was the perfect purchase for the Bronx. He is also the cover for Adam Reynolds. And if you are playing 7 in this team with Ezra Walsh and everything around you, I'm all about Ben Hunt starting as a top 10 5'8" as a halfback, 100% easily.
We just got to remember that he's also off a pretty bad hamstring. That's the only thing. Like,
True.
The reason why we're so down on his minutes is because I agree with what Anthony says here. Like, we can't just look at Pakes' minutes and say that Billy Walters will take the same off Hunt. That's true in probably 4 weeks' time. I think in these initial few weeks, it's going to be a rougher initiation for Benny Hunt minutes wise. So you might feel like you've lost before you win later on in the season. So if you pick him up, you've got to be committed to keeping him there for that really towards the back end, because it could be you could very easily lose faith in it.
Sick debate, though. I love these ones. Like, it's awesome a player like this becomes available at this stage of the season. We hoped it was sooner again, but now it just creates an interesting conundrum. If I was 5'8" Needy Boys and I wanted to roll the dice to try and win a league or at least make a final, I think he's as good a shout as anyone you're going to get this week. And I know Tunner Boy could be good, but if I was needing a 5'8" specifically, I'd take a punt on Ben Hunt over Tunner Boyd.
It's fair.
That may not be a popular opinion. Do you, Todza?
No, I'm kind of there with Ben Hunt. I'd probably, if I was looking for a 5'8", I'd rather take the little punt on Ben Hunt to be, that 55. And if he gets more, you cheering kind of thing. So I would take the punt there as opposed to taking a punt on Tunner Boyd. But that's a really good conversation, to be honest.
Didn't mind it at all. Meso's got well on board. He says, yeah, great debate. SC Classic folks would never have it. Yes, bit of very much a draft convo to be had there, Meso. We're going to get this.
Folks.
Mate, I still love my Classic, but we're going to get our draft. Cranking, and I'll tell you, if they ever do Classic without captains, unpopular opinion, I will be all about that, and we'll extend this podcast. So there's that. But anyway, moving on.
That I will not be here for it.
Hey, the show will go on, Simo. The show will go on.
Right.
The Mighty Titans. What a season it's been. It's all over the shop. Still no sighting of Keanu Kinney, but there's a David Fifita on the extended.
Don't get me this excited before bedtime, mate. Holy shit,
Mate,
big Beefy's back,
mate,
baby.
This is what I want to see from you. There was a big trade done between the two experts you have here earlier in the season. One, it did involve Hopgood going the same way, and that didn't work out. But this is a shot at redemption for the Todd Mount.
This is it.
And you love to see it. But standing in his way is the try-scoring machine, Chrissy Randall. You can't oust him from the starting lineup, mate. He'd be a favourite of Desi Hasler. You have to feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I just need D Fifi. Give me, man. I only honestly need 35 minutes from D Fifi because we all know what he can do in 35 minutes. He can absolutely score a mozza. Just happy to see the big dog back, mate. Seriously, let's be honest. Everyone wants to see Dave Feeder on the field playing. Whether he's
fire him up as a third. You fire him up as your third 2RF.
He's playing in my flex this week as my 2RF stacked, but he's playing in my flex. Just give me some upside in the last game of the round. I'm playing like a player down, like anything D Fifi, and I might get home.
Good stuff, mate. And for Tino owners, it's been a rough little middle here with the sternum injury in Origin, but it's just delightful to see him named this week. So the last game of the round, hopefully a good run home. Maybe a sneaky Bilo out there as well.
Jalen de Groot's playing.
I did see this. I saw de Groot. I gotta tell you, boys. I know that Alofi Khan Pereira may be suspect defensively, but surely he scores more tries than he lets in. Went back to New South Wales Cup and brained him as well, to the surprise of no one. Still about as an electric player as we've ever seen in the game of NRL.
When's he off contract, Khan Pereira?
It's funny you say that, mate, because I thought he got re-signed, but he's had no love from Desi. He's always been scapegoated. It's one of those harsh ones for mine, but yeah. Anyway.
He could have gone back to Queensland Cup.
That's what I meant. My apologies.
But did you see? I believe that Paul Kent on his podcast come out and said that Desi Hasler is going to retire. Like say retire from the from the coach of the Titans in this year.
Retire.
So
okay.
Really?
Khan Pereira, yeah. If he's in the bad books, and
Titans players,
he offers a little bit more than Jalen de Groot from what we've seen. So I'm not going to mention Jalen. Philip Sammy, if he's out there, just keeps on keeping on. He loves a high floor with the odd, just sprinkles in these hundreds for some reason. So he's a good one. Brian Kelly's back, boys. And surprise, surprise, trending up towards a 60 average as he's done literally every year in SuperCoach. You start him as a 4 CT dub. It just works.
Not this week. The one person that owns him is Katoni Staggs.
That's true.
Like,
just Staggs a dog
all the time. Yeah. I agree with you, Redford, but just not this week.
He could be your fourth. Like, he's a great fourth, fifth one for me, whereas Sammy's probably, a fourth? Good fourth? Averaging 60-something as he tends to do as well.
Sami's been really good.
He has. Last couple of seasons, actually. Jaden Campbell back, boys. Huge in for owners. Absolutely massive. They're obviously a much better threat when he's there. Mofot back to a starting spot with Jolliffe. You just can't trust, unfortunately. And Cleese is hanging on. So, look, exciting last game of the round for SuperCoach. You'd be a very nervous opponent of any of these Broncos. That's all I'd say. Very, very nervous.
Do you think Arthurs comes back in for Mariner?
Probably.
I think so too.
Probably. Yeah. Tough to try. This is the thing, Todd's with Arthur's obviously playing on the left to start the year was a waiver darling. Absolutely outstanding. The right side Bronx winger, can they get some? Cobbo did when he played there last year and the year before that. 2 years ago when he was playing on the wing outside Stags, not when he was playing in the centres. Can you get around a right side Broncos winger?
I can get behind Jesse Arthurs. I think he's decent enough.
Okay. It just hasn't happened for him yet. That's all. He's been on a bit of a
drought. They haven't had a team. They haven't had their full spine on yet. Reece makes a huge difference there. But, that's an exciting one to finish it off.
All right. Beautiful stuff. Now, quick recap of the Listener League I'm going to do next. Then have your questions ready, please, gentlemen. So I'm in here to the mighty Listener League, one I prepared earlier, Tots.
Yeah.
And last week, yeah. Well, I thought I better actually comment on a little. I actually had a crack in the buy round and took him down somewhat comfortably in the end. Things went my way. The Middle East with a narrow win. Now, they're the ones to watch, boys. This is the main one I wanted to talk about. Middle East have settled right up into third place and ousted, on account of me beating Simo, have snuck into the top 3. So he is coming for that jersey. And I say, power to you, Mark, if you're listening. Good from you, mate. Paul White and
You better
Wongs.
watch out for the Middle East.
What out?
Topical.
That's what you meant.
Composure. Composure. The Baconators have come off the schneid. In the battle of the basement, they've beaten the Baxter's boys in a high scoring figure in the week. Todd's is gone.
God.
Shreds continue their good form, beating the highly fancied Braden's Willie Armies with a 701. Well done in a bye round, old son. That's a good effort from you, Shred. Our man Heathy has shellacked Holmes and Watson. Well done. And Wydot has copped a bit of a belting here from the Simp for Carrigans as well. So, yeah, it's been in looking at fortunes, as I said, well done. They're sneaking up on us, and a jersey to be had. Good stuff. Questions from X. We'll go X first this time, Simo.
Yeah.
What do you got, mate?
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, it's good. I totally got it ready when you told me to.
I even
just
gave you
one
prep time this
from-
week, mate. Here we go.
Yeah, one from Kero.
Go, Kero.
1 week play out of. I assume this is Latu Finu. So Latu Finu, Tanner Boyd, Ben Hunt, or Jake Clifford. 1 week play.
Latu.
I'm intrigued enough about Latu. I say Tanner Boyd in the matchup against the Tigers myself.
Yeah, so Latu and Boyd against each other.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the Warriors side of that.
Well, we're not going Clifford against the Bulldogs.
No, definitely not.
The Clifford's definitely out. Yeah. Toddy says Latu, Redford says Boyd. I will. Yeah, it's out of those two. I'll say Latu.
I think the goal kicking will get it done there for Boyd.
Yeah, and that was it. I thought I had one in DMs, but I can't find it. Oh, actually, no. I'll ask you boys this one. I won't say who it's from, just in case. As a bench stash rest of the way to back up your starter, so you have to rely on this guy. Would you go Sexton, King Tongia, or Hastings?
Oh, yuck.
King
Sexton.
Tongia. I can't trust Sexton with the Galvin thing. It's got real weird. It's all over the
weird
place.
Weird enough for me that he's starting. I just feel like they might just run this way out the rest of the season.
Yeah, I said Sexton as well.
Jeez. Yeah. I want to make sure. I want to make sure to that listener that is the softest recommendation. That is tough. They're tough. I would go with the boys on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Good stuff, Simo. Thank you, mate. Job me up, the mighty Book of Face.
Mate, we've been inundated with questions here in the Book of Face, so
hello.
I'll get through them. First one, Nathaniel. He says, "Hi guys, Nathaniel. I've been offered Latrell for Aaron Clark. Thoughts on accepting? Latrell missing the grand final is slightly turned him off. His fullbacks are Connor Tracy and Keanu Kinney. Straight swap.
Take Latrell.
I think
I would too.
He means give away Latrell, I think, because of the grand final.
No, it says I've been offered Latrell for Aaron Clark. Thoughts on accepting? Latrell missing the week. The grand final is slightly turning me off.
No, for me.
You wouldn't take Latrell.
Aaron Clark. Nope. Keep Aaron Clark.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he's playing Aaron Clark. Second one here is from Aiden. He's got 2 questions. If you have to drop one of these guys, who would you choose? Jamal Fogarty, Kerry Weeks, Lehigh, or Tommy T? For context, he's 9-9 in his league. He's in the 7th spot. Needs to keep winning to make the final 6. He has a 4-man bench. He's currently got To'o, who won't back up. Fogarty's the starting half, so he has to stay. KO Weeks is his injury backup for Jaden Campbell and an alternative fullback. Lehigh's a starting fullback, and Tommy T's going well against poor teams. So what do you recommend there, boys?
Does his league not trade? Because
Surely doesn't trade.
As if you can't trade Kyle Weeks.
Yeah, especially after last couple of weeks.
Or even Tommy. I'm not immune to trading Tommy there, but he can't drop.
Yeah, like whichever one of those two you can get the most for is what you need to try and do. But I mean, if push comes to shove and you have to drop someone, like let's say your matchup ends up being close and you have to,
still Weeks. Right?
It's Tommy.
You have to drop Weeks. Yeah.
You're against Tommy Turbo.
The only reason?
No, you don't drop Tommy because if Lehigh gets injured and Tommy goes back to fullback, you've just dropped him. Like you lose too much.
Well,
you need to lock down Manly's fullback.
I hear you, but if you're in desperation stakes, the only aspect of that it stands out to me is KO's 5'8" eligibility with that position absolutely decimated at the moment. Just don't drop KO. Put it this way, don't drop either of them. Surely there is some deal out there you can swing for one of those two. Turbo on the massive name.
He has to have a 5'8" though. If he's not starting Weeks at the moment, like he said, Fogarty's his starter, so he doesn't drop Fogarty.
Yeah, looks like he's got Jaden Campbell at his 5'8".
Yeah.
Jesus, he's stacked. Well, like this, wow.
Has to be a trade for Weeks, man.
Surely Weeks you can trade him for anything that will play for you this week, but like someone good. He just got 160, and Canberra's run home is juicy AF as well, by the way. So far out, that'd be a rough drop. Meso's added this guy should have traded to get a forward or drop late in the round and compete on waivers for the player back. Still awful. Yeah, there is that. Where your waiver position is, get the timing right. Meso also adds, agree on Sexton. Doggy's got real weird with the Galvin situation. I'm with Buzz, who spilled the wine on this one. Yeah, that's my take too, Meso.
Anyway, moving on. Aiden asked a second question. He says, needs a 2RF. Appreciates some advice on the order between Kautonga, Williams, Halasima, and Donahue.
Williams
definitely one
by the length of the straight.
Kautonga. One week, Toddy, or rest of season?
It doesn't say, mate. He just says he needs a 2RF. So,
because you want to put Halasima ahead of Kautonga as a 1 week special, Simo, given the
I think it's a great week for Lecker against the Tigers.
I do
Capewell won't back up. Whereas it changes, like Lecker rest of season is nowhere near the others because
that's right.
But yeah, that's why it matters to me. This one, I'll let you answer it, and then I'll give my thoughts.
I just think Williams as well, because of that front FRF eligibility, he's got to be owned. Like he's just been absolutely nasty at front row. His trend would be, since he's been in that role, would be up top 5 FRFs, wouldn't it? He'd be at the bottom end of the AF. Isn't he averaging like nearly 70 in the last? It's pretty high.
Is he?
It's better than you think. He's been ridiculous.
Don't know about top 5. He's been that good.
Bottom end of the top 5 is, sorry, I was trying to clarify. So behind you, Tapani, AFB, all them. He's been great. I'll confirm for you while you give your answer.
Give us the rest of those names, Toddy.
So it was between Kautonga, Williams, Halasima, and Donahue. Donahue's a really interesting one, hey? I think for me, personally, I think it goes Williams. Rest of season, it goes Williams, Donahue, Kautonga, Halasima.
Yeah, Williams has risen his average to 60 overall, but since he's come into the side, like the 5-round average is 75.2. He's been ridiculous. And he's one of those like real life gun emerging type guys too. Like he's been so good for Para in this run.
Yeah. I think Toddy's list is probably bang on. Donahue's could go he could go the other way. Like it's so good that Donahue is back in the 13. I just don't know if I'd rather Kautonga over him or not.
I'd rather Donahue myself over Kautonga. Can I just add to Williams and maybe the surprise packet of the season? He's only had one try in this, by the way, in this period. 62, 96, 80, 60, 66, 74 is his last run of games. So I think he's the waiver pickup of the year.
Yeah,
Well, I stand corrected. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
Alrighty, moving on. I've got two more questions to go, boys. Vance, he says, play for Fita this week or plug and play Kautonga? Yeah.
Timo.
I know what I'm doing.
I know, Todd's, we're not asking you, old son.
No,
I'm
what
rock
could be
solid.
doing, and it's not playing David Fafita. It's Katona.
Yeah, play Katona.
It is Katona.
Here we go. He's also got Robson versus Egan this week. So Wade Egan, Reece Robson.
Against the Tigers, I actually think it looks like an amazing matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if Egan just passes the ball on and lets the rest of the team just brain them.
The second part of that question is... Oh, sorry. You go.
I was going to say, Reece Robson didn't back up last time, and I wouldn't be shocked even if he does play, he could come off the bench. So I agree with Redford. Maybe Egan does pass off, but I think it's still Egan.
Yeah, and the second part of that question is also, who do you keep for the rest of the season if you had to drop one?
Egan.
Robson, probably, because I'm a little bit worried. Egan has had that little bit, he has his in-game injury risk, as we've seen, and he's run into a lower average as a result. Also, who's the bench hooker that's been just loitering around that's taken away minutes? Because he has dropped off his 80-minute performances from the start of the year, Simo. Worries me a little bit. Is it Tamari just sneaking a few, isn't it? Because he's dropped, if you look at he had a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 80s, and then he's gone there's been a 67, sort of low 70s, another low 60, and it just brings his average has dropped quite a lot.
Yeah, right.
I'd probably take Robson.
Robson rest of season?
Yeah, I'm not even a big fan, so there's that.
Yeah. Vance also says he's a Cleary owner. Would you plug and play Wishart or Schneider? It's an interesting one, actually.
Wishart, if you know Cleary's not backing up, but if there's any unconfirmed reports that Cleary might play, and by the time the Storm play, you just have to roll with Schneider.
That's good advice, Simmer.
Like we said earlier, you've just got to knowledge is power. You got to at least give Cleary the back up. Yeah,
I agree with that, Simo.
Boom.
Very good. Last one from Vance. Thoughts on Marju now with no Ponga? Would you play Tuapiki over him?
Yes.
Definitely be playing Tuapiki over him. Hell yeah.
We should have, boys, we actually should have mentioned Tuapiki while Shans is out. My apologies.
Yeah.
We overlooked that. Easy waiver claim. Got CTW eligibility as well. He's very much a waiver claim this week. So apologies. There's we'll call it a bonus one thrown in at the back end. But I'd be going... Honestly, if I was a Shans owner, you probably could send the house. It's probably fair enough.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, he's good to a peaky.
Mate, boys, that is all that it is from the Book of Face, boys.
If you're judging by the questions as well, this is one of the best bye weeks of the season. It's all just come together, especially, best waiver weeks of the season. Following off the awkward bye crunches Simo mentioned. I think, lads, if you're a serious contender, don't just rest. Unless you've got the most solid team, the most settled team you could possibly have, this is a week to get amongst it, because you should, even in a 10-team league, if you're down sitting in the mid-rungs, you should be able to pick up a rest of season value player here, I would like to think. So go hard. Awesome potty tonight. One of our longest ones we've had, but it's just been stacked full of action. Absolutely loved bringing it tonight. Just wanted to shout out to the listeners who've been with us through this long ep. Absolutely love bringing it to you with some great, robust debate. Awesome chat contributions. Meso on fire tonight. Great to see some of our regulars in here as well is awesome. And I just wanted a big shout out. Lewis has joined us very late, one of our new subscribers. Welcome, sir. Sorry you missed us. Please have a look, and you've already subscribed. Good from you. Meso says, well done, gents. Well done to you too, sir. Love your work. Boys, we actually just want to celebrate a milestone for us. We blew past our record viewership last week, which was pretty sick, as we're tending, making our way up to 500 views. We're hitting about the mid 250s or something now. That's our next milestone. We want to try and get towards 500 views. Please, listeners, if you love what we're doing, we love draft. absolutely love Draft SuperCoach. And if you can just spread the word, get us a few more viewership, we can keep growing the brand. Three passionate gents here looking to bring it to you. So, Simo, one of your best, mate. Some of the analysis tonight, loved it.
Watch out for the Middle East, eh?
I knew you were going to say something. As soon as you had a little smirk on your face, I knew the Middle East was coming back up. That is unbelievable.
They're in third.
Don't you give it as me having one of my best. So that's going to be soundbited by me. Oh, that's good.
They're coming third. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough. Yeah. No,
awesome
mate. It's good to be here. Yeah. Pleasure.
Brilliant. Always the best outro man in the business. And on to a sexy man with an outro is the Chod. Knows how to bring it. Come on, son.
Mate, know how to bring it. It's been a good episode. I've really enjoyed it. Up the bloody YEAAAAH. Going to get over those Tigers. Get it up, yeah.
Man wave, baby. This is where we live. Listeners, thank you again. And as always, get that BDE India. Oh, yeah. Queenslander.